Cannot attend. Okay, so welcome to the 2022 Service Unit Cookie Wrap-Up meeting. We are super excited to have you all here tonight. Like I mentioned, we're going to do things a little differently. We sent out the normal presentation in advance so that we wouldn't just but spend a lot of time going over data that you can look at prior. We wanted to have more of in-depth conversations this year on things that are really important part of our cookie program that we can work on making better next year. So I'm Rebecca Frazetta. I'm here. Gail and our niece are here, and Lazier from ABC Bakers is here. So we will get started. And as you can see, we'll just do a quick Q&A. If anybody has any questions about the presentation that was sent out, we'll have a few minutes to answer those. And then we're going to kind of break down those 6 topics that were sent out earlier into 3 different breakout sessions. So what we really want to focus on during the breakout session is just having you give us some suggestions for things that could be changed next year, things that you would like to see happen that could make your job as service unit cookie managers easier, what can help the troops better, so that's really what the breakout sessions are for, just getting some real specific suggestions on those topics, on what we can do or possibly, consider changing for next year. We have some door prizes throughout the night. And then at the very end, you'll get a quick little peek at the cookie program theme for the 2023 season. Okay, so before we start that, and you can unmute, is there any questions that anybody had about the specific cookie program wrap-up data, the presentation that I sent out last week? Anything specific about that data? You can absolutely share that with your troops. Feel free to do that. Anything jump out?
And now, where did you find that?
Any questions? It was all pretty self-explanatory. If anything pops up after you do present this information at your leaders meetings, feel free to email Gail or myself. We're happy to answer any questions. But I definitely recommend sharing that with your troops. It's kind of good for them to see the big picture as well of how the whole council did. Okay. So I'm not going to go through this because when you're in your breakout session, we'll share this screen, but this was a combined feedback of everybody who submitted the Google form, who gave us some feedback. And if you didn't yet, that's totally fine. The form is still open. So please take your, please feel free to submit that after your leaders meeting or, in the next week or two. Beginning of June is when we shift focus again to start really planning the 2023 cookie program. So it happens really quickly. So the sooner we have any feedback, the better. But really what the breakout session is going to do is these sections of what could be improved and how, and what was a disaster, how could it be fixed, those types of things. That's what we really just want you to give you a chance to open up and give us some suggestions. It's easy to say, hey, this didn't go well. But then, okay, how, what could be in our mind of a way to make it better might not be in your mind a way to make it better. So I think it was really helpful last night for everyone to kind of have smaller breakout sessions to kind of give us suggestions. So that's what the purpose of the breakout session is. So the first topic, we'll have about 12 minutes or so. So you can take a few minutes to talk about training. I know we've really upped our training game, but where are we still lacking? What do you need more from us? And giving us specific examples is really helpful for Gail and I as we start to plan next year. And then you'll also, in the breakout session, same thing, just focus on the initial order period and deliveries, anything specific that, might not have went well, that might need to be changed for next year, more support, something along that lines. Let us know, again, this is the session where we just want to hear your suggestions. And then we will also share all of this feedback data out to you all as well. So you can see what your counterparts in other areas of the council also had to say. So I am going to split us up. You know what? We're going to do breakout sessions. I'm still new to this, so it's going to take me a minute. We're going to do 3 breakout sessions. Just want to make sure I have the time right. Yep. Okay. So here you go. You're going to get bumped to a room and we'll see you back in a little bit. So, okay. Hi. You get me and Angela. Yay. Some of my favorite people. I'm just going to reshare my screen again so you can see the data. So yeah, this is a section for you to feel free, unmute yourselves. You know, you can take turns. Any feedback, suggestions that you have for us in regards to training. So training we give you as service units, training that we do in addition for the troops. It can include smart cookies training, anything that you think we're lacking on still that we may need to make better. We would love to hear. Hi, Deb.
Hey, girls. I guess this would be going under the smart cookie platform you asked about, but I had leaders that weren't thrilled with the training slides on under smart cookie for training, but they didn't have an issue with me training or my cookie manager, my cookie person, my booths person with the training. I really appreciated having the cookie manuals earlier than after this year. That was big. So for training itself, I didn't have an issue, but it is, it is a lot of information, especially for newbies. But I always make sure if they're uncomfortable, I do a one-on-one with them, or however we can do it. Though my leaders would like, and I think it's, on a service unit level, they'd like to see me back in person, but because of COVID this past year, we couldn't. So, that was a little bit more difficult. I think it's always easier on face-to-face with the training, but otherwise that went okay. And I think it was great that you guys did offer out the second training for the service unit people, for your cookie managers on smart cookies, even though they're not thrilled with smart cookies, but you offered out a second training, which did give a little bit more explanation on the platform.
Okay, so some better smart cookies training slides or videos.
Yeah, they were whining a little bit about that.
Yeah, they create that stuff, but Art, we can definitely look into doing some additional things. We got some great feedback last night about some like one-pagers, specific stuff about credit cards, like accepting them at booths, like a little quick guide. So we can definitely work with ABC and do that and get some screenshots. Not everybody wants to sit and listen to a YouTube video. So okay, excellent. Thanks, Deb.
Thank you.
Anybody else training suggestions for us?
The only issues I ever run into are with smart cookies, and it's usually when people are asking me how do I do this, or where am I going with this, and because smart cookies has changed so much in the last few years, I'm like, I don't know. So then I have to try and figure it out when I'm on the phone with them, and I'm like, let me click here, let me click there, and try and figure it out. So I think smart cookies training would be helpful. I personally struggle with the slides or the videos or whatever, because again, I'm usually on the phone with them, and it's like, okay, hold on, let me watch a quick YouTube video and then show you how to do it. So I think not just the slides and I think the slides and the YouTube videos are good reference. Like you look back on them. Wait, what was that? Oh, wait, okay, I remember doing this. So some sort of, I mean,
Mhm.
it's never exciting to sit through, but it's kind of helpful.
Yeah.
Because like, I'm not going to sit there with my leaders and do the individual training, but I should know how to work the program.
Mhm.
And for the most part, I do, except for when things change and then they go, well, how do you do this? And I just don't know.
Okay, so even more like some service unit, cookie manager specific training. Like I know we did like a walkthrough last year for the service unit level, but just kind of quickly click through things. And there's definitely functions we can't show until it goes live. But no, I can see what you're saying, like finding out what's new, what do really our service unit cookie managers need to know to help their volunteers, and maybe we can schedule some of those trainings.
And I mean, on the ABC level or whatever, maybe have the stuff that, we can't look at because it's not live. Maybe they have a demo site or whatever so that we can look at what we might be seeing, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just so we're not walking into it cold, because that is hard, especially when you have new leaders and they're asking all sorts of random questions and you're like, oh, I don't know, I haven't thought about this in 10 years, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I have a different situation because I have grown daughters. So I'm not a troop cookie manager. So thank God for the mimicking screen, because sometimes they'll ask me things and I have to mimic them to see what they're talking about, because my screen and their screens definitely don't look the same.
And I mimic people too. I mimic the girl, the troop leader. I mimic everybody.
So do I.
That was a fantastic feature when they came up with that.
That was a great feature.
I tried to mimic and I couldn't understand what to do. It doesn't seem like it was working for me.
Basically, so Annie, and I can show you next year too, but once you mimic and you click on the person, you mimic them, it's basically you're doing it for them. So anything you do is legit a change. So it is like a two kind of step, like you have to click to mimic and then search the person and then click on them and then click mimic them. So I can kind of walk you through it too next year to show you. But then it's like, once you get in there, you're literally looking at what they look at. So
that's what I tried to do, but I wasn't looking at what they were looking at.
I'll help you next year. I'll walk you through it. Anybody else? Anybody else? Amy, did you have anything?
I was going to say, I'm blessed because Varsha is our cookie unit. And so like questions never really get to like our level, which is awesome. Two thoughts though, real quick. I think one is probably just, I think the more screenshots, right, that you can provide in any of the e-learning materials, right? Because there are a lot of people who are visual learners, right? No one reads the instruction manual to anything, but they'll look at the pictures. So maybe some of those screens were like, here's helpful information. That might be a good thing. As I'm looking at what could be improved and how, one of the things that we struggle with, although not as much in these COVID times, has been with parents posting to, social media about sales, and that's always problematic. And I wonder if perhaps we couldn't give people some examples in the trainings of like, posting to you, like your own page. Yes. Posting to, Highland Park parents. No, right? Like, I think to try to give some real life examples may help people. I think too, if there is some suggested language that can come from GSCSNJ, that's like, here's what your cookie, your service unit cookie manager can copy and paste into any email that's got to be sent to a troop leader, a parent, copy to whoever, so that messaging sounds the same, right? Because I think one of the things we kind of seem to struggle with is like, whenever that first one gets reported, it's like, okay, well, who's going to write something? How are we going to say it? What do we want? Just cut, paste.
Yeah.
Everybody's hearing.
And some issues, like Pinterest and Etsy. The thing is, there's 111 councils. So a lot of people share things not knowing that it's a different price. It's not our council. So a lot of that stuff is by accident. But
Absolutely.
we can totally kind of work on clarifying.
Absolutely. It's a rookie mistake, right? People are like so excited to help their little daisy sell. They're like plastering a thing and you're like, oh no, don't do that.
Awesome. Since we were kind of counting down, I just want to go to this slide. Here, any feedback on initial orders, deliveries, anything jumping out that you think you need more from us next year in preparation for that, or?
You know me, I love my giant warehouse deliveries.
Well, we love our local delivery and it's worked out well for us. But I think the
Never go back.
question, one of the problems I think we've had is with the ordering those gluten-frees, because I remind the leaders, it's like, remember, you can only get them once. Is there a way we can get them? I know that there's special bakery and this and that, but is there a way that council can have more on the truck for at?
So it's, you know, and to be completely transparent, that the issue is if once we order more, we can't give them back. So we have to order in full pallets. So we usually round up, you know, to the nearest, we have to order to the nearest pallet. So we could be left over with anywhere from 20 cases. 2 years ago, we were left over with 40. You know, last year, I think we had about 20, 30, and we were able to get rid of them. You know, I think it's like that fine line, like, do we order an extra 200 and what happens, you know, kind of trying to be fiscally responsible to our council. What happens if nobody wants them, you know? So that's kind of the tough line. We kind of look to see where the order falls. You know, we will have our discussions with ABC this summer about things. We meet with them every year to kind of see like, hey, what's kind of the feedback on this? What are we looking at? But that's really the conundrum for us. Like, it's not like, oh, we can just order an extra 50. It's like we're talking about a couple hundred, and it's worrisome for us because we don't want to lose money for our council, or, you know, that affects like, you know, the troops and everything else, you know. So I mean, yeah,
It's a fine
tough-
line.
It is.
Rebecca, I had a question. You said we were left over with like an extra 24 cases or whatever. But if everybody's thinking we're out of gluten-free, how do we get stuck with the extra 24 cases?
So what not meaning stuck, like this year when we have to order to a full pallet, we had 35 cases who unclaimed. I basically brought them to TransStar with me and got rid of like 20 of them that day because people saw them in my trunk as they were checking in and were like, oh, I need those. But yeah, so we really get rid of them. You know, the year we had a lot left over was the year I had to go out when dealing with some pregnancy issues right in the beginning of cookies, if you remember 2 years ago. So unfortunately that fell through the cracks. And then when I was back, it was like, okay, nobody else wanted them. This year with online, it's like they're going all the whole cookie program. So it's really hard. Like, you know, 2 years ago after the end of January, nobody wanted any more gluten-free. This year, they were literally selling through the end. People were paying online and getting them shipped, you know, so it's really that fine line. I think all we can really do is keep trying to communicate, explaining that, you know, this is a certified gluten-free baker. That's why we have to order so early. You know, ABC did push it to the end of October. We can find out if it'll be later this year. You know, so that's something we can say, like if they're willing to go a tad bit later, but we only have a minute to go. Any last
Rebecca,
suggestions? Yeah.
Rebecca, I have a question. And this has to do with the deliveries. As you know, this season, we had a big issue with deliveries in Washington Township. And our leaders' complaints were, we could not get cookies out of our own truck. We were having to go to different towns to get cookies because so many people from other service units were coming here. And you know, that one delivery was till midnight before they got out of there.
So the
So
break room's going to close, Lisa, but we'll
Okay.
come back. We're in the next break room together and we can kind of touch back on that too and talk about that a
Okay.
little bit more. Okay, so we'll
Okay.
see you on a few.
mhm.
Okay, I think everybody's coming back. I think Gail, you're on the share your screen.
Am I doing the wheel?
Yes.
All right. Let's see, can everybody see our wheel?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So I'm going to give it a spin and let's see who our first two winners are. Nicole G, you are winner number one. Yay.
Nicole G, are you here?
She was in our group.
No,
Hello, thank you.
There you go. Okay.
What service unit are you with, Nicole?
A 303 Cherry Hill,
Cherry Hill.
Legendville,
Okay.
and Haddonfield.
Fill in the blank. Okay.
All right.
So wait a second.
Number two.
Yay. Okay. And I'll be mailing out prizes by Monday to everybody who wins.
Courtney.
That was very anticlimactic. It was like slowly trickling, like, is it gonna go? Awesome, congrats. We're gonna keep pulling more prizes. We're gonna go back to some more feedback. Okay. We go back to share.
Sorry, I could have.
Everybody can see, right?
Now we can, yes.
Okay, so the next, after this brief little intrude, we'll go back to breakout sessions, and we're gonna focus on planned orders and truck and warehouse schedules. Any suggestions when it comes to those topics. Some stuff that we got back this year where, maybe mark spot for pickups, more pickups at the beginning of the sale, more flexible time schedule for volunteers. So that's definitely one we want to elaborate on, because most of our pickups are anywhere between 2 and 4 and then 6 and 8. So, we want to kind of see what volunteers are looking for, limiting orders, things like that. So that'll be the first topic, and we'll share our screens again. And then smart cookies. As you know, Anne is in one of the groups, so she can definitely chime in on some smart cookie stuff. But then we can also bring it back and have her address anything. So these are the next two topics we're going to focus on in our groups. And I'm going to put this all back in breakout rooms again. All right, see you in a few. Am I in a room? I'm back. This is like, I'm doing all these screens. It's interesting. Okay. So I don't know if, goodness, I'm drawing a blank. Lisa, if you want to, we're kind of starting to talk about, truck and truck pickup. So this is kind of a good thing if you want to go back to what you were starting to say about truck 2. Maybe she'll come back in a second. Maybe she walked away. Any other, oh, here she comes. I see her.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was in a meeting.
No worries. So you were mentioning the issues at truck 2, which is Washington Township.
Yeah. The one night, as everyone knows, most of the people were there till close to midnight.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a problem. But then the rest of the season, when we could order, it seemed like other service units were coming to pick up at our truck, and our own troops were not able to get cookies. So then we were having to travel elsewhere to get our cookies.
So that's kind of, where we have our big area. So we have our 2 warehouses and we have 10 trucks that go out, and it's pretty much open to wherever, because people live, so especially certain areas in the South are huge. So where somebody might live, their next closest truck might not be their service unit. But, specifically for truck 2, what was happening, and it's never, ever happened before, and Angela can attest for this because she's been here longer than I have. We were getting orders for that truck that were like the size of mega drops. In my 8 years of being here, we've never had more than 2,500 cases ordered for a truck. And usually that's when we're combining a truck because of a cancellation or snow. These orders at Washington were coming in at like 4,000, 5,000 cases. And we never, ever expected that. We never had to even think about truck limits of like, what can a Mack truck, Sinclair is awesome and they have large trucks, but what can they handle? So it definitely was a learning opportunity for our council and the delivery agent, because this was just something week after week that we've never experienced before. And
Yeah, because I think like one of the issues, I had gone to pick up an order and there were 4 large vehicles in front of me. They were all the same troop picking up from that truck.
yeah.
So I don't know if from now, if it gets like that, maybe you could put a limit on, okay, you can only order X amount of cases from the truck.
that was definitely brought up. We're gonna have to address that. This is
Yeah.
kind of where we need the service units. We get it. People are worried about placing initial orders in December, but these are troops who are selling year after year, like thousands and thousands of cases. So they really should be planning on getting these cookies at their initial order. And we know how big these, some of these large orders, I was at warehouse 2 a couple times, not warehouse 2, truck 2. They're coming and getting like 500 cases. And, that's hard when we only have 3 hours planned. So, we definitely want to work on our communication with our troops and explaining the really big importance of placing that initial order and not relying on a truck to do it. If we do any type of limits next year or maxes, which again, we may plan into it because of this year, we'll definitely communicate that early on to you. It'll definitely be in our training guides. We have to look into what the trucks can hold and what our delivery agents can send. We had our camp rangers out there, we had staff out there, so we weren't just depending on the trucks, but it is something we will be really looking into this year, Lisa. And the importance of troops ordering early. Troops were like, I'm trying to order at 9:55 on a Monday and the truck's closed. And I'm like, it's at its limit. Like every other truck was at its limit. Like we did our best to help those troops. But this was really, really something we never experienced before.
Right. Yeah.
So, but thank you for that. We'll keep you posted as training happens on what that may look like next year.
Okay.
Anything else having to do with, I know somebody had said more flexible time. Somebody yesterday had mentioned like earlier hours, because more and more people are working from home or working remote. That may be something we could look into at a warehouse. Again, we're working with delivery agents who have their own line of business. So, some people were saying maybe like around the lunch hour, like 11.
Maybe it's not during the school pickup hour, like 2 to 4 would be really rough, I think, for people, maybe like 12 to 2, something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
School pickup hour is choppy.
So yeah, that's true. I mean, some of our pickups are much later. Some start at 2, some start at 3, but we can understand. Okay. So thinking flexibility around school pickup times.
Rebecca.
Yeah.
I had a leader that had a major issue at the East Brunswick trucks.
Okay.
You know how they tell us that bring somebody to help you load the truck, but the guys wanted to hurry up. And so they were putting the stuff in your truck and really wasn't giving you enough time to check what they were doing. And
okay.
Annoyed because you wanted to count everything. And this one particular leader, she noticed that they were shoving a lot of damaged boxes in there. And she eventually had to tell them that put it on the ground so that she could check them, because that's what we're told to do, to check them. But the guy was very rude to her. And then she ended up, when she pulled over and she checked her order, all her stuff wasn't in there. And she had said that she didn't think everything was in there, but the guy was telling her to move because he had other people in line.
Okay.
And so besides the damaged boxes, the shortage, we were willing to, the leaders were willing to pack their own cars, most of them. really because they were trying to hurry up and get the
Yeah.
cars moving. They were helping, but they really
Yeah.
weren't allowing the troops.
Yeah. And we know some of, some of the guys are really great. They don't want people to deal with long lines. So they're trying, but we will definitely bring that up with our agents. And, when we work with them next year, to remind them that it's extremely important that our volunteers count, and also that they're vocal. We don't want them to be rude, but to be vocal, to say, wait a minute, we need to slow down. I'm responsible for this financially. I need to count this. So we'll definitely, bring up those conversations with our agents next year when we
Aren't
talk
they
about it.
already aware that we don't want crushed boxes?
So they are. The thing is when, they can only put a certain amount on the trucks. So there's only so much they can swap out. Usually it's the later troops that might get some, dented boxes where they don't have a replacement. But, the worst case scenario is a troop can take, if it looks a little creased or damaged, they can take it and damage out a box, obviously, if it is damaged. So typically it's like the troops at the end of the line that might get stuck, like, oh, we don't have the extra lemonades, like this is all we have, so take it and damage out if you have 4 damaged cookies. But we'll definitely address this with them.
Yeah, but that wasn't the case that they were
late. Yeah, it was like early on. Okay.
And then
We'll
like
definitely bring that up.
you already
So
know
we're-
that, why are you putting them in there?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna move over because we're about 5 minutes to go. Anything on smart cookies? What can we do with that? I know we talked a little bit about that earlier on.
If smart cookies could make an app that the adults could properly use as opposed to using the crappy website, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, they have the girl app, but does it help the troop leaders?
No, because let's face it, kids don't necessarily need to use an app. They're kids. The adults need the app.
Yeah.
It's hard to do. Even last night I was at my leaders meeting and somebody had a cookie question for me and I had to use the stupid website and everything's this tiny. And my thing was,
on the phone.
so an app, if smart cookies could, get their act together and create an app for adults, that would be fantastic.
Okay.
Did anybody else have any problems with looking at numbers and then you look again and it's not there?
So Anne addressed that last night. The way the system is set up, all of the reports are current. So if anything, if you make any transfers, the reports will automatically immediately show that, but the dashboard won't show that because there's so many thousands and thousands of users that for them to have it that the dashboard automatically updates, it would like shut the system down. So Anne was saying, and this is something that we can definitely train better on and with reporting, is that if you do a transfer, do a deletion, anything like that, the reports will immediately show that. It just does take some time to refresh what your dashboards look like. So we are going to do some stuff on, what are the key reports to look at, like, and then training you as well to tell your folks, like, if you're ever not sure, these are the reports to look at to see if something's been done or deleted. There's just so many users that when they tested that out, it just crashed the site and they could get the reports, but that's it.
I would say the search function when you're trying to find like an order or something specific. If maybe they could make that a little more user friendly. There's a lot of clicks you have to make to actually look something up, and then there's a search bar there that only works if you make all those clicks.
Yeah.
So it's not super user friendly, which was challenging because I tell my leaders, oh, it's super user friendly, just do the clicking and it's easy to figure out, and then it's not.
Rebecca, we had 2 things. Number one, if you used your laptop to look up reports, you were okay. I had a leader, I'm going through on inventory, and I'm like, go to your report inventory. And she's like, what are you talking about? I says, don't you see it? She's like, no. Until I used my iPad, which I finally used, and because I figured, bring it to work. I can look at this during a break. And I couldn't find reports. It wouldn't allow me to bring up reports. So that wasn't helpful. That was not helpful at all.
Again, yeah.
And the other thing was, I did have some leaders that would prefer if we go back to the transfer form.
Okay.
That it's easier,
That's just as good.
visually to see.
Versus the using the receipt books.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how other councils or how other service units feel, but I did have some leaders that say, I guess it's just because it's a color and it's something that we've used for so many years that,
Yeah, I can't guarantee that we can get those transfer slips done again, but what we could probably do if we can't, sorry, Mason's took his pants off and he's jumping on a chair. He's like in that
Yay!
almost 2 stage. So this is the fun part. We could probably do the transfer slip like as a PDF for troops to print, and have, but that is something I can check with ABC and in our planning to see if we could bring them back and test that and see what other.
Was that an ABC decision or was it a council decision?
So they made them and printed them for us. And then we were like literally probably one of 2 councils who still use them.
Oh, okay.
And
All right. So we
They
were
were like,
behind the
everybody else
time.
uses receipt books. So, we're trying to be green and less paper. And we're like, okay, we do use receipt books. So we're like, we'll test it out.
How did other service units feel about that? Are we just being old
No,
and
I
cranky?
can ask. I mean, I feel like I might have heard that from 1 or 2 people, but we were all in different groups last night too. So my team's going to come back and recap everything. But
I don't think,
As an
Some
alternative,
complained, some didn't.
yeah.
could they maybe like have some regular receipt books and then make some of the green receipt books green? I don't know, change the color of the cardboard on the
Oh,
outside.
yeah, something like that might
For
be
like a
good.
transfer. Yeah. It's definitely something we can talk about at our planning session and see. Again, like I said, each year we
Always
try
just
to be
like
less
Receipts on
work.
it, too.
Yeah.
I don't think some of my leaders even use those books. I think they just transferred through the computer.
Yeah, I mean, you always want to have the record of it, because then what happens is if you see a transfer come in and you have no record of it, that, could be a problem. Like, I don't remember getting these cookies, but at least with a receipt, you have both troops who've signed it, but yeah, some people, Annie is right, don't
Always
use
want the paper trail.
the receipt books, and then they just go right into smart
No.
cookies.
And then I did have I had to remind the leaders through the sale, like you need the giving troop must put that transfer in. The end of the sale's coming. You're not going to be able to finalize, I sound
Mhm.
like a broken record by now. They're probably tired of hearing me.
As far as smart cookies goes, if the credit card thing could be easier to use, people would really like that. Search function, more user friendly, and I'm not sure what other ways. I'm sure there's lots of other ways they can make smart cookies more user friendly. It's not.
Yeah.
But those are 2 things that
Okay. Okay. No, this is definitely helpful. We definitely got some good feedback, people asking, especially newer folks, glossary of terms, glossary of reports. Definitely something with credit cards, like even if it's like a booth sale, 1 pager on credit cards, since a lot of booths are having their parents, their, volunteers go in their place. So it can help them, take booth credit cards at booths. So yeah, we've definitely got a lot of really great feedback. So we're going to head back to the room and then we'll be back in a little bit. Thank you.
Cool.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. Lots of excellent, awesome suggestions and feedback. Let's mute it. I see your lips moving.
Sorry, I was on the wrong screen and I couldn't get back over here to unmute. Are we,
Yeah,
is
you
everybody
can.
back?
I think everybody's back. You can share.
Yep.
We're gonna do our next door prizes.
All right, hold on. All right, here we go. Our next winner. I feel like it's like Wheel of Fortune or something, the way the wheel spins. Amy, was Amy the one who messaged that she had to leave? Somebody messaged that they had to leave.
She did, yeah. So I wrote her down. She had
Okay.
they had their leaders meeting.
Okay. All right, our next winner.
This wheel thing is free and it's really fun. So feel free to share. Wheelofnames.com.
Crystal.
Crystal, congrats again.
Hey,
We'll be mailing
congratulations.
prizes out by Monday. Okay. Let me go back. So again, we've been getting really great feedback. So thank you all. So the last breakout session we're going to do is going to focus on booth sales. I know for some areas, this can be like the thorn in your side. I feel personally in the past few years, it has gotten much better. You know, but we can always keep going, making it better. And what can we do to help? So we want to talk about some booth sale things that you might need to see changed or help with. And cookie rewards, same thing. You know, we will start planning for that. So we definitely want to hear some feedback because you're the pulse of your area. So you know what your leaders are saying, the parents, the girls. So it is very helpful for us as we start to plan that out. One thing I did just want to say before we go into our breakout session is about Acme, because we do have some new cookie booth coordinators and cookie managers on. For some reason, you know, people still think that we took Acme away from you all and only give you 3 weekends, but that's not the case. Acme wanted to become a corporate a council contact. They actually did it with all the New Jersey councils, and they only give every New Jersey council 3 weekends. So I know some areas have really great relationships and they know the person who's done scheduling for years and years, and that's their local supermarket. But it really came down from a corporate decision. They reached out to us a few years ago. They wanted it to be consistent and concise all across the board. So I would love for them to take it back and let you all schedule on your own and get as many weekends as you like. But unfortunately, that was a higher up decision from Acme that came to us. So I just, you know, I wanted to clarify that because, you know, it can get frustrating for folks to think like we're limiting you and we really weren't. You know, that took us for a loop too when they reached out to us on the other councils. So just to answer that. So again, we're going to go back in our last breakout session and talk about those 2 topics and then head on back. Where's breakout rooms? Okay, let me just go back to that. Okay, so booth sales. Any extra? Oh, okay.
Boot sales is like a huge hot button way to make everybody in my town angry. Because we had them all,
Yeah.
and we no longer have them all. And so this makes people mad because it's called the Morristown Mall, obviously. They don't quite understand that the Cherry Hill Mall has to share too, even though it's called the Cherry Hill Mall. But we do not have a grocery store. We do not have a Walmart. We do not have a big box store that will let us sell anything. Everything around us is in Mount Laurel or Maple Shade. So we have nothing. Everything we have is mom and pop, you know, pizza place will let us sell in front of their place, or the library lets us sell there, whatever. So because of this, my leaders get very angry, like all season long. all I hear is, why do we have to share them all? Why do we have to share them all?
Mhm.
So I totally get it. I'm like, all right, guys, it was taken away from us. Everybody has to share. But at the same time, it's kind of like, it's a crapshoot. Half the time people don't show up, and then I have leaders begging for slots.
Yeah.
And then we don't find out till like the last second, and there's no way to fill that slot. So then we have empty spots at the mall. And I'm not sure if there's a way to make that better, but it's definitely a huge hot button in town.
Okay. I mean, we can definitely have a conversation about it. You know, we do have one of our malls in the South who they want it to stay continually to run it. They had no problem doing that and sharing with other service units. So we let it be. And I think it kind of all happened during the COVID year. Like we were trying, because we lost so many other places, we were trying to make sure we secured the big malls. But yeah, we can definitely have a conversation outside of this. And you know, if you're happy to take it back and continue to share and run that, you know, I know there was a couple little things here and there that schedules got messed up because people didn't respond. So then we gave them away, and then they came back and like, oh no, we did give them out, but they never told us that they gave them out. So, you
Yeah.
know, it was a little bit of a
Communication's a tough situation.
yeah. And, you
I know Mayor would be very happy to take them all back over.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely talk about that. You know, I think there's the point is of being happy to share with some other service units and, you know, including them once you have open spots and some things.
Yes,
But yeah,
and that's the thing. We definitely have times during the sale where we can certainly let other people come on in. But when our troops don't get a chance to sell, like we really struggle, that's when people got really mad. So I think that would be a great conversation to have.
Okay. Yep, definitely note that, and we can have a conversation later. Anything else about anything other than you see here? You know, somebody said let girls have water or hot chocolate. We did, you know, last year we did not allow food or drink at booths because of COVID and the, you know, strict guidelines during that time. This year we did allow it at the leader and volunteers discretion. It was in the booth guidelines. So, you know, I'm not sure why they didn't have water, but you know, we just don't want them having a meal. You know, we just, you know it. Some people will show up with McDonald's or a whole lunch. You know, you're only there for a short amount of time. You're trying to run a business and teach girls the programmatic piece. So we want to keep it, you know, it's okay to have a snack. It's okay to have a drink, you know, but Mason's laughing. You know, but having whole meals is
Brunswick, I had a a leader that said where the setup was unsafe. I didn't go to the East Brunswick when they had the booth sales, but I had a parent said it was kind of unsafe where they allowed them to set up the booths, that it should have been closer to the door.
Okay. Yeah, I saw it one day driving by, and I actually have to touch base with Gail on that because they looked like they were right by Route 18 and the entrance. And I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. I can understand the purpose of being there because you're trying to get traffic attention. But I'll look into that, Annie, to see if that's where they gave it to them. You know, I think people actually really like the drive-through booth, and I think the sales have been much better. You know, Brunswick Square Mall is not that busy of a mall, but outside it is. So we can definitely look into that. I'll touch base with Gail and our mall contact and see if it's something where maybe the girls can set up at like a busy outside entrance by the restaurants and then direct cars over. But yeah, I noticed that one day and I was like, is that really where we gave it to them, or did the troop just go there because they wanted to get cars off of Route 18? But I'll look into that and we'll touch base on that. Okay, so we'll talk rewards. Any
Did we freeze? No, Rebecca went on mute.
I'm on mute. Yeah, I'm here. I know we got a bunch of people asking for sibling sister rewards. That's something we haven't done in a very, very long time. So, you know, we will look into that. You know, but any specific feedback on awards and anything on the volunteer incentive, anything we're missing? Any suggestions for the volunteer incentive?
What was it this year?
So you had two options, two chances. You could either get a poncho, two rain ponchos, or you could get two matching t-shirts. And it was split up by PGA. So once you had a 250 PGA or higher, you got t-shirts.
I don't like that. I like the girls making money on their PGA. That makes sense to me because it makes the girls sell more. But I don't know. I always thought the volunteer incentive was, for us doing the things that we're supposed to do to make the program run smoothly, not necessarily whatever the girls are selling. Because I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, we got some feedback about participation and PGA. So, that's definitely things to take into consideration as we plan.
I did have, one of the leaders was saying that when you have girls in your troop that are registered, but they're not showing up to a meeting or whatever, they're still counted as registered girls, and it does affect the PGA. And, and then they had also, some of the leaders were saying that they had an issue with parents who didn't put the girls' goal in smart cookies. And I believe, well, because because I don't have a girl, that also affects also affected the volunteer.
Okay. So yeah, so definitely some thought for us to consider for next year. We wanted to try out some things. We see things that other councils are doing that's a success, and we try to test it out. So we'll definitely take that feedback into consideration.
Some of mine had issues with the prizes because it was only 160 to get a t-shirt, but you gotta sell 190 just to get some socks or a stuffed animal. It just seems like the order,
Okay.
the incentive to go higher wasn't always the greatest.
Okay. Got it.
And it was like 85 to get the bracelet. The minimum I think was 85. So it was a little, like Annie said, it was, not everything seemed to balance.
Okay.
Want to go
Girls
higher.
did choose those back in the survey last year.
But I thought that, from what we haven't seen them in person yet, but the gifts do look good.
Yeah, we do try, to get, we outsource some things this year. So, you'll be getting your ABC stuff probably by the end of May. As soon as we get a confirmation, we'll let you know. And then some of the other things that we outsource, because we want it to expand that outside of what ABC offers, those might be coming by mid-June. But, as soon as we get more of our tracking information, it's been slowly coming in. We're going to be emailing you all. We'll email you the form for any damaged or missing rewards. But we do try, to see what's hot this year, what the girls are liking, any, big things. We do want to try to put stuff in the right spot to push them to go further. So that is helpful to us. If you think the order didn't really help that this year, that's something we can totally look into and readjust. It's just, we're dealing with so many people. 8,500 girls sell. So, some people are like, we love that the towel finally went down, the beach towel. We love that it's less. And then other people are unhappy that the hoodie went up, so it's like trying to find that balance of making.
You're not going to make everybody happy.
Yeah. So it's like, can we make the majority happy? Like, what do we got to do? What's our sweet spot? But, that we did seem to get a lot of positive feedback, at least on the beach towel, because that was something that the girls seemed to really want at a lower level. But, okay. I think we've gotten a lot of good feedback on that. Like, choices, we do try to offer choices, like if it's a lower level for lower girls, younger girls, versus something that the older girls might like, so that's something we've enacted the past few years, because we have a range of kindergartners through 12th graders, and not all the older girls opt out. So we want them to have some choices too that might interest them versus just being able to get a sock. So Okay, any other feedback?
Quick question. In the old days, I remembered my younger daughter was able to opt out of tchotchkes and for credit towards a week at camp. I mean, it didn't cover the cost of the camp, but you had, you just had some credit towards the camp. Is that anything that
So
they
we
could?
did, we're definitely looking at the camp thing again. We did try, like, one level was a $50 camp credit and one level was $100 camp credit, and that was a choice. And I think on like the $50 credit, I think only like 20 girls chose out of a
Oh,
couple
okay.
hundred. And then the same thing. So we're like, okay, maybe the girls really don't want it. But again, it's something we're
Getting a
looking
gift certificate
into.
when you're 10, it's just not that exciting. And gift certificates for something that you can redeem in 6 months. They don't get that
Yeah.
distance thing. That
And
might
the-
work if
and-
you're 14.
Yeah, and if it's a
you have-
choice, exactly, to a girl, like people always say, oh, have them maybe choose membership. Well, girl, like they don't care that their parents pay for membership. They see something, they want something. They don't want something that they know their parents are going to pay for regardless. So I think that could be the issue with it being a choice, so maybe, we are definitely looking at some other type of, experience options now that COVID is, knock on wood, getting better. Trying to bring back some more experiences because we do know that's stuff the girls do want, whether it's in a day where we're all at or tickets. So we're definitely looking at that, and we'll do a reward survey again that we'll send out to everybody. Probably that's usually end of June-ish. Once we see what ABC has, we do some research, we compile that survey. So the more girls that we can get to answer that survey, the better it helps us. I think we've been pretty good with the survey results, like the top 5 choice, like the top 5 hyped items we've put on. Like last year, Hershey Park was number 1. That was the most ranked item that girls wanted tickets for, and we put that on. So, we definitely, the hoodie, the t-shirt, the beach towel, they always come in that top 10 too, so we definitely try to get those top items on our order card. So we'll be working on that. Looking at some new experiences, because how many times can we go to the aquarium and the zoo? So trying to really see what else we can do and go from there.
What about Juliet's Closet? Because
I was just gonna say that, Annie.
So-
find something in there, but a lot of girls, just because you give them a credit to camp is not gonna make them have the rest of the money.
Yeah.
So all of them probably should be an option, even Hershey's. If you have to
Yeah.
supply your own transportation, Juliet's Closet seemed like an easy fix for all those as an alternative.
Yeah.
That's
So
true.
when we did like the cookie dough and the Juliet's Closet credits, like you'd be surprised, people don't redeem it. Like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars was not used, like year after year. And we just thought, this is stuff that the girls aren't getting, like they're not getting that reward. So we're, but we do know a lot of councils do something called cookie dough. It could be retail gift cards, it could be credits, program credits. When we did switch to program credits, that was more popular because they could put that towards a program of $50. They could pick a couple programs, or one really good one. So that seemed to be a bit more popular than retail credits or camp credit. So
And we
yeah,
could
that's
always put
definitely
it on the
something.
voting. But Rebecca's right. Every year after year, it's great for our council, right? When people don't redeem anything, right? They basically lose the money, but that means that it wasn't a good motivator for girls or parents, like they didn't find value in it. But I think we could always put it in the
voting.
the survey to see, maybe things have changed after, a couple of years and people have more of an interest in the programs and things like that. I know we're revamping some programs, so maybe that would be, of more interest. And we'll just see how people answer the survey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to close in 7 seconds. Thank you.
Nice seeing everybody's face.
We don't see you.
feel like we always get cut off. The break rooms, like somebody's in mid.
I know the last one. It's always like, wait, we have more to talk about.
All right, I think everybody's back.
Okay.
So Gail, you're on the next few slides. But thank you, everyone. We've gotten such great feedback. This is really, really good for us.
We have-
Really helpful.
Let's see. Oops. This is where we are, Rebecca, with any
Yeah,
questions.
okay. So yeah, any other last minute questions, topics, suggestions that maybe wasn't addressed that you have for us?
The only thing that I would suggest is I think the cookie season is far too long.
You think?
I'm sorry.
3
like-
months? I think it could go another month. I mean, I'm ready for it to go. We could just
All right,
go all
you're-
summer.
I don't mean just selling, but like from the time we start gearing up, like scheduling booths, talking about it, having meetings, doing cookie lotteries, to the time we're collecting money, finishing up, collecting money from parents, like it's like 6 months. Seriously.
Yeah.
It's just, it overtakes, I think, what the meaning of Girl Scouts is. Like cookies is a way we get our money and we do things, but like it shouldn't be all that we are.
Yeah. No, I mean, for many, many years, it seemed we were at a good sweet spot of like a 7-week sale. We do train earlier, obviously, because the holidays throw that wrench in there. But we train you guys then kind of have some downtime. It looks like more and more service units are then ramping up in January, right before we start. We were not happy. I was not happy. I mean, you can get poor Gail. I think it was like end of March. I was like, this is like my mean week because this is a week it's supposed to be over and it's not. And I'm just mad at the world. And even my family has like, it's cookie season. She's just mean to all of us. So, yes, this year was not ideal. And we hope to never, ever have to extend our program by a month ever again. We do hit the topic of timing on our surveys, which that's another slide Gail will remind everybody, but please, it's going to be open another week or so. Have your troops, your families fill out the survey because then we can bring that data back to our executive team. But we are hopeful to try to get it back to like a good 7-week sweet spot, 8-week sweet spot, the way it used to be. And just getting it wrapped up, back to the pre-COVID times. But no, we get it. And each year, this is why we do these wrap-ups, because we want to make things easier for you, for your troops. So things that, we've gone paperless. I think that was a huge help especially to you all, to not collect all that paper and shift through it. So we're always looking for suggestions to make this more of a seamless, fun program for everybody involved. So, but no, we've got that down. Justine, trust me.
Everybody.
Are we getting rid of the Toast Days next year?
I don't believe so.
There will be no
Can we-
change to the line.
There's Anne.
How much longer are we stuck with those?
Stuck with them.
Yeah.
No, okay, so there's always going to be one cookie
Go
that's
outside.
the lowest seller. I mean, it's just the way it is. But no, and just to give you a little background, GSUSA, it's their cookie brand, and they are taking a much greater lead in what the offerings are going to be. So just as they did last year with a unified offering of venturefuls, that both bakers had the same cookie, I really see that as the future moving forward. So when changes are made, they're the ones that lead the changes. It used to be the bakers would say, we think it's time for a new cookie, and we would go out and start doing the research. They're still depending on us to do a lot of the research and stuff, but they're the ones driving any changes, and they make the decisions on which cookies are retired at the time that a new cookie is brought in.
That's pretty good.
Any chance they're gonna bring back thanks a lot?
Yeah.
Or
Heard that
s'mores.
last night. I actually emailed my team and let them know, and we get a lot of requests for that. So I'll never say never because I've been in Girl Scout cookies for a really, really, really long time. And there's always something new to surprise me. But at this point in time, there's not a plan to bring Thanks a Lot back.
That was the worst one to get rid of.
I love the Thanks a Lot. That was my favorite outside of shortbread
And s'mores. I've been asked for s'mores a lot.
Yeah.
But
I have s'mores, and I mentioned it at camping last weekend. And they're like, "You have s'mores? Did you bring them? Oh my god, bring the s'mores!" I'm excited about the s'mores. Like, I didn't bring them. I'm sorry.
And there was a question: a surcharge on the cookie share when ordering on direct ship. Any reason for that?
There is a reason for that. It was when direct ship was first started, when the pilot project was started many, many moons ago. There was the question of, there is cost involved with bookkeeping, the credit card fees and things. So that's what that covers. It covers all the administrative costs and the credit card fees, so that does not get passed on to the council to have to pay those credit card fees.
Okay. Will council still cover the half the shipping again next year?
So we haven't gotten into those conversations yet, but there hasn't been anything that's been brought up to me to change our shipping subsidy. But we'll definitely let you know if anything does change. But that's usually stuff that's talked about in the summer. But again, I can't see that as being something that will not somehow work to subsidize, because it's been something that's worked greatly in everybody's favor. So
just
I can't say yes, I can't say no, but
one quick thing: who gets this surveys about the rewards? Is it only the girls?
So we create a reward survey, and we usually send it to, I believe in the past it was emailed directly to all of the registered girl members, but then we post it on the team app, and we also post it on our website, like we post it on our social media. So I'll also make sure we share it with you email too, that way, because not everybody checks their email.
But not everybody has kids.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Had problems with the toast shays because every pack I opened was broken.
Every pack of toast shays was broken.
It wasn't just this year; it was last year also. And I'm sure the way people are buying it, it must not be every single pack, but it just seemed like every pack I opened was broken.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll pass that on. And I do see somebody asked any rumor mill that the lemonades are going away. Please, the lemonades are not going away. That made the rounds on social media this year because there was a council that made the decision that next year they will be moving over to Little Brownie Bakers. And so it was the last year for lemonades for their volunteers. But the way they worded it on social media, it was like wildfire that lemonades were going away, and they are not going away. They are like our signature cookie. They are here. Again, as far as I know, well, for next year, for absolute sure. And I can't imagine us taking that cookie out of the line. It is way too popular, even after 15 years.
Thank you.
Yep. And just like Anne had mentioned a little earlier, you might have gotten cut off, but there will be no changes to the lineup next year. So definitely nothing's going away. The Toastier is like the year 2 of the s'more. If you remember year 1, everybody went crazy. We ran out of them. They couldn't get them. And then year 2, they ordered a whole lot and then had all those extras. So that's kind of what happened, I think, this year with Toastier. But we were kind of up against a second new cookie. So for a lot of people, they went against the Adventureful. So I think just let people know when you're talking initial orders, like, okay, look at what you sold last year and, don't order as much, So I'll make sure that the reward survey, we'll make sure I email you all as well on the SUM so that you can share too, versus just emailing the membership.
One more thing I'd like to say.
Yeah.
So thank you for everything that you do. I'm sure it is not easy because I do it for 6 leaders and I can just imagine what you do. But if you could have a team going forward to help with everything, like answering emails or split up the council. So like this team member might, answer this part of the council and this team member, it might help you. I know it's hard with hiring people, but if you had a little bit of a team, it might make it easier for you and for us.
We are looking to hire a second full-time person. We've been very thankful for our niece who's joined us part-time the past 2 years. It's been awesome. But she has said she is moving on, and we have been approved to definitely getting a full-time second product program specialist. But we try to work and train customer care hand in hand. But yeah, we'll definitely we'll talk about that, Justine, and continuing getting more staff support during cookies, because it is such a big program and we need the help. But thank you. Thank you. Okay, so Gail, let's go on.
Right. So as Rebecca just talked about, the surveys are out there for a little bit longer. So please make sure that the girls and their families are filling out their survey, and then that the troop leaders and your cookie managers are also getting to their survey. And they were sent out, and they're on TMAP too, Rebecca?
Yes, I emailed the SUMs Friday to share, and I also posted both links on our team app. So it'll be open probably another week. The more people we get, the better that'll help. I'll show you Mason after our last slide. He's running around with no diaper on. Well, he has his diaper, no pants.
All right, so
You're brave if he's running around without a diaper.
He's pulled it off a couple times, but that's been it. So we're not in that naked stage yet, but he's just figuring out how to take his clothes off. So hopefully he doesn't do the diaper. Oh, and he's huge. He's like 35 pounds. I'll pop him over in a second once we get through this.
Let's get our 2 winners so we can see see Mason. All right, who's coming up? Oh,
here's my list.
I've got it too. Debbie T. Yay.
Congrats.
All right, and our final winner of the night. Okay, slowing down. Annie. Congratulations to all of our winners, and thank you to everybody.
Yes, thank you so much for all of your hard work this year. We really couldn't have done it without you. We appreciate you all tremendously, and we hope you all come back.
All right, and I know somebody asked to see the theme for next cookie sale. So we are a dolphin, and it's Go Bright Ahead.
Yeah, and it is connected with the fall program this year. So you'll start to see that stuff. The fall program mascot is a seal. And it's the same, this is the first year we're connecting both fall and cookie themes together. And also all of the councils will have the same theme and mascot. So this is another thing, like Anne has mentioned, GSUSA taking more of an active role in the cookie program and trying to really solidify things for everyone. So you will see, I know some years people are like, we want it the monkey and not the dolphin, but this year everybody is having the dolphin and everybody will have the seal. So very exciting times, and obviously more about the theme will be shared in the thing. Let's see here. Let's see if you can see. Mason, say hi.
Oh my gosh.
Touch the computer. Say hi, everybody. He's like, Mommy, I want to know. He is a giant little man. We called him a man child, little Hercules. He's a climber. He's everything my daughter was not. Yeah, it's good, fun times. So he's very tall and very active. But thank you all so much for joining us tonight and giving us your feedback. We hope you liked this format versus last year. Did it work for everybody? Do you prefer this versus just listening to a presentation? I see a thumbs up.
Oh, yeah. Emphatically.
I see another little friend in there. Hi. Yeah, so we really just, we can give you that wrap up information in advance, and we just really prefer getting, having more detailed conversations like Debbie had mentioned earlier, not being in person. the past few years kind of takes a little bit away from that. So we really just want to, not everybody likes to talk in a big group. So we thought, let's break it out a little bit, give everybody more of a chance to be heard. So my team will definitely come back and regroup from this. And hear all the feedback. Gail and I, Angela, Ann will all start our focus for the 2023 cookie program in June, and you'll start to hear from us. And as soon as we have more of an update on rewards, we'll send you our email of what to expect and when soon. So, but that's it. If you have anything else, let us know. Any feedback after your leaders meetings, shoot us an email. We love to hear it. So thank you all. Have a great night. Thank you.
Bye.
Hey, everyone.